Let's have a look at the next one now. Newcastle Knights, Dylan Brown, the biggest story, well, the biggest deal in the history of the game, moving to Newcastle from the Parramatta Eels. Again, it's all about the sixes and sevens over here in Las Vegas. It's the same.
Come on, man.
All the young kids are doing
I've been listening to my daughters too much, I think. Here is the team, thanks to Sportsbet, for the Knights, and Fletcher Sharp, probably the big one there, Matty, in the six position. Of course, Brown, and we'll get to that. But Sharp at six, do you like it?
I love Fletcher Sharp. A couple of reasons. All the confidence in the world, naturally gifted, and he's from Cessnock. Perfect trifecta. But no, I saw Fletcher. I'd never met him before, saw him the other night. You know the great thing about Fletch? It was like, he said, I want to play seven. That's right. You know, that's his thing. And a little bit like the Bulldogs, you're working with a sort of hybrid game plan to accommodate both. I'm interested to see how that goes.
Matty, if you spent half an hour with Dylan Brown, what would your advice be to him? Going to Newcastle, knowing how proud the region is.
Yeah. I would say don't let the number dictate your natural game. You take your natural game to the number. If he gets out there and tries to finesse the football around, there's one bit about Dylan. One thing about, I love Dylan when he runs the ball, right? It's very simple to do when he has the discipline to run the ball. The thing I don't like sometimes with Dylan is the no-look passes. Yep. You know, that sort of stuff, you know, that pretty football. That's not his go, right? He should run the ball. It's about physicality.
Matty, you did face-to-face with him. What was he like? Where was he?
I must say on the interview, he did better than me. It was 6:30 in the morning. It was a catastrophic interview.
I heard you were a little hungover when you did that interview.
Massively.
We'll work through that. His mentality, though, was he in a good space? Was he ready for the season, confident? Do you expect him to have a big season?
It's hard to tell. He's so chilled. You know, he
doesn't give much away, does he?
Doesn't give much. He doesn't.
Well,
race. It's hard.
Is that dangerous with Kalen Ponga? Yeah, he's very chilled as well. Kalen Ponga, they say, doesn't really.
Well, Gordy, you bring up a really interesting point. Kalen's at a junction in his career.
Yep.
Do you want to be known as a great player and a great leader, or do you want to be a bloke in 20 years that they show YouTube highlight reels? That's where he's at. It's a big year for him.
Who is the chief playmaker in the Newcastle Knights team?
Hard to identify. I don't know what Justin Holbrook's going to do tactically. If I was coaching, I wouldn't put it on Dylan, but Fletcher's a younger bloke. I think a lot of the direction might come from Kalen.
I'm fascinated how this plays out, because the big problem under Adam O'Brien was the chopping and the changing of the halves. Now, it's not like, you know, they didn't have superstars in those positions, but last year they had 8 different halves combinations. Yeah. 15 different changes. 24 weeks, there were 15 changes week by week on the halves. So he's got to sort that out, Justin Holbrook. It's only going to be 2 choices, really. It's Dylan Brown's going to be one of the halves, and it's either going to be Fletcher Sharp or it's going to be Sandon Smith. So hopefully he works that out in the first few weeks.
Got to stay the course. You're right, Dan. You've got to stay the course. As you know, Brad, you've got to let halves form combination.
Justin Holbrook, big job for him. And we've heard a lot about him. He's done a great job as a coach, and this would be his biggest challenge. Yep. What have you heard, Matty, from the camp about him?
Well, you know, it's typical of football sides. Everyone loves a new acquaintance. They come in, oh, mate, he's fantastic, he's great, you know, all that sort of stuff. The thing I like about Justin, he played at Newcastle for 2 years. He understands the town, the team, the people. One of the things I really loved was when he first got there, he took the boys down the coal mine. And to understand Newcastle, the steel mills, the coal mines, they are just part of the football team.
Well,
part
it's
of the
hard
culture.
working, right? He's trying to teach them.
It's a blue-collar football side,
what the
blue-collar
community's
town.
about.
And, you know, Gordy, as you know, back in the early days of the Knights, they had no money. And, mate, they used to say all the time.
You never went to Marathon Stadium without getting beaten up. Don't worry about the scoreboard. You got beaten up.
Well, I remember Wayne Pearce used to call the drive up there in the M1 the highway to hell. So and that's what you've got to establish yourself as a tough side to play.
Those sheds were hell.
Because the Johns boys used to water
them. Yeah, that's right.
All right,
almost as hellish as the nightclubs up there.
All right, let's lead in or dive into the North Queensland Cowboys. A lot said about them as well. Todd Payten, obviously, a big job for him and under a little bit of pressure. There's a lot of speculation surrounding him and his team. What do we think about them, Dan?
A lot of the coaches that were in the hot seat ahead of Payten are gone, so I think he is in the hot seat. And they've got very winnable games early. They've got, oh God, I just realised who they've got in the first 3 weeks. Gold Coast is one of them. They've also got the West Tigers.
It's going to be a tough game.
Two owners here.
Mate, your sandwich now, Dan.
Oh, I don't.
Be careful.
I don't. Gordy, I don't like being this intimate with you this early in the night.
Okay.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. No, in all honesty, they are under the pump because you look at that list and you think, how the hell are they so far from the finals or were last year? 9 wins. I like that they've got Clifford and Dearden as the halves because, look, Clifford is vanilla and he's no frills. But they win more with him there. I know they want Purdue in the halves, and maybe that's the future, but it seems to be a safer bet, and they've got plenty of creators around him, and it seems to work for Dearden better when Clifford's there.
Reid Marnie, what will he bring? Will he help Clifford and Dearden in the halves?
Do you know, he was very good before the Bulldogs booted him out, because if you remember, he was giving away a lot of penalties and almost trying too hard. Then he actually really cleaned up his act. But he was on the outer at Canterbury and didn't play much in the big games.
Matty, how do you see the spine there? Including all 3 we've just spoken about.
Clifford's a really important one. I like Jake. I really like him as a player. Jake's big thing is getting off to a good start in the season.
Yeah.
He's a real sensitive bloke. He doesn't have natural confidence. And so I want to see him off to a good start. Marnie is so important. Marnie's one of those things when people talk about you as a player, like, Gordon, me and you, they will hard men. But, all they say with Reid Marnie all the time, mate, he gets in their faces and all that. And he's started to become a caricature of himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's up there to pick him. He's got to be a leader. Got to change his game around.
And Helam Lukey. He's mate.
Trialled well.
Yeah, mate.
Looks
Mate,
good.
because he was injured for the last couple of years, so he'll make a big difference.
He's one of those blokes, you just hope the bloke deserves to get through a season unscathed.
And then I mean,
well.
Yeah.
trusty.
But they got enough talent.
They do.
Oh, man, what a player.
So who wins this one?
I think this might be tight. Cowboys,
Yeah, I think so.
because you know what you're going to get with the Cowboys. You're still waiting to see how Sharp and Brown are going to gel, but I think this might be closer than people think.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably think at the moment the Cowboys.
Okay.
Still waiting for the combinations around the spine to form. A little bit worried about the middle at Newcastle.